Acupuncture and herbal remedies are catching on around here, but they're not a key feature of American sports medicine. Here, these alternative medicines aren't alternative at all. They're standard practice. So how will Beijing blend the best of East and West to keep everyone healthy? In this episode, this New York physical therapist is himself a blend of East and West. How he caught Olympic fever and returned home to China to keep its Olympians in fighting form. And doctors at Third Peking Hospital are rooting for their patients, not just to recover, but to win Olympic gold. Then how Beijing CDC works to prevent another epidemic like SARS during the Olympics. Plus, help is on the way for injured Olympic tourists and athletes alike, right down to China's version of 911. Finally, get rid of that throbbing headache with your feet. All coming up now on Beijing Are You Ready? For elite athletes like world champion gymnast Zhang Nan, injuries are a fact of athletic life.
作为一个运动员，任何一个运动员，又或者是说任何一个项目的运动员，都是不可能没有伤的。
That's why physical therapists are on her team of coaches, trainers, and doctors. Dr. Bob Chen is a former pro water polo player and coach with a PhD in physical therapy.
Injury most happen in ankle, knee, lower back, shoulder, and sometimes they even have problem with neck, wrist, elbow, almost everywhere.
Originally from Hong Kong, Dr. Chan got his degrees in the U.S. and has been on the faculties of New York University, Harvard, USC, and more. Currently, he's a professor at Hong Kong Polytechnic University, assigned to the Beijing Olympic Committee to help provide health and ongoing healing to the Chinese national gymnastics team. His treatment strategy reflects his life, a blend of East and West.
I am primarily using the Western physical therapy technique in combining with the Chinese traditional method, 推拿, deep tissue massage, sport massage, or manipulation to help them to feel better, to relieve the pain and muscle spasm. But of course, we also use a lot of what we call a Western technique, like muscle stretching, muscle energy technique, and all kind of different techniques that we found that best to use in sport.
An injury doesn't mean an instant vacation from rigorous training for a gymnast. Time lost recuperating can mean forfeiting a medal or losing a chance to even go to the Olympics. Even athletes who aren't dealing with injuries worry about them. Tung Haibin went to the 2004 Olympic Games, but he says he can't sit on his laurels. He needs every day of training possible.
训练中，主要担心就是受伤。
Once again, Bob and his team are there to make sure these young men and women and their Olympic dreams are safe.
A lot of people have shoulder problem for the ring exercise. They need to really working on the muscle balance between the front and the back, and also the small muscle group inside to keep the muscle strong and joint stable.
But it seems that Dr. Bob Chan's work with the Chinese team members helps him as much as it does them.
Even though at the time I was in New York and I was waiting at the TV set and waiting for the good news, and when the good news came, and my family, my wife and myself, very happy because I found that at last we have an Olympic at home where we can show the world what the Chinese culture, the Chinese people, and also the sport in China. And I feel like I want to go back to help the Olympic and make it a better show to the world.
So when Bob brought his blend of art and science to China's Olympic gymnastics team, he brought something else too, his heart. He just had to be part of his homeland's race to win gold at the first Olympics ever held on Chinese soil.
And there's one thing I have no doubt in my mind is the gymnastics team will do much better than last Olympic in Athens Olympic 2004.
If that happens, part of their success could be due to the work of physical therapists like Dr. Bob Chan. Every Olympic athlete is a daredevil. They invest everything into the dream, their childhoods, their teenage years, and their young adulthood, and they do it knowing it could all be over in a second.
就是自己在球，对方犯规，然后就摔倒了，摔倒以后，然后就憋在那儿。当时，心情特别差，然后觉得心里没底儿，然后什么时候能好，什么时候，能恢复到比赛状态，心里特别没底儿。
When Olympic dreams are shattered by injury, this is where they're put back together. Peking University Third Hospital. Doctors here supervise the treatment of all sports injuries sustained by Chinese Olympic athletes. Sometimes doctors have to make heartbreaking decisions for injured athletes.
And we have a final say for all the athletes. If they can continue the training, competition, or they needed to stop.
But first, they do everything they can to salvage the dream, as they've done with Chinese national soccer team player Yu Hanchao. During a soccer match, Yu collided with an opponent and ruptured his medial ligament. Doctors had to reconstruct the ligament, but during surgery, they discovered his medial meniscus was also injured. They had to cut part of it out. Doctors performed the surgery 2 days ago. Now comes the hard work for Yu Hanchao, rehabilitation.
From the first day post-operation, we ask the patient to do straight leg raising, 把腿抬高一点，抬起来，对 ，OK, like this, and like this, and then every day, OK, 放下去 and every day we ask the patient to do, we call the ankle pump. OK, this we call the ankle pump. We also ask them to do relax and the contracture of the we call it the quadriceps muscle. So like here, because here we have the cotton pad, so we can see it clearly. 做就是收缩，甚至收缩，然后放松，然后收缩 ，OK， 放松 and in this way, we can prevent the muscle wither.
It's only going to get harder. Yu Hanchao can look forward to 3 more months of rehab before he plays soccer again. Yu's treatment is a combination of both Western and Chinese medicine.
We never say this kind of injury only you can use the Eastern medicine, or this one you should use the Western medicine. We don't do that. We put together.
我们在开展这些西医的最先进的技术，比如手术技术的同时，我们会把中医的康复手段用上去。你比如，他在手术后，在1个多月以后，慢慢的我们就把中药的熏洗啊，像这些方法就给他用在他恢复上，减少局部的肿胀和促进血液循环。
Chinese doctors also routinely use acupuncture, believing it helps with pain management. Doctors are people of science, but something very unscientific happens when they treat athletes reaching for Olympic gold.
因为他们经过我们的治疗，所以我们对他们都是很有感情的。我们医生不是每个人都是球迷，或者是都是运动迷。就像我们可能不怎么参加体育运动，但是呢，因为有自己的病人在赛场上的话，我们很关注这场比赛。我们可能会晚上半夜或者是1、2点钟，我们爬起来去看这场球赛，或者去看这个在国外举行的体操比赛。我们治疗的这个国家队的运动员有很多已经在国际的赛场上，就奥运会上已经重新获得了冠军。我想那份奖牌里边也有我们的可能一份成绩，我们也感到自豪。我们并不需要那个奖牌，但是我们为他取得的那个成绩，为国家取得的那块奖牌，我们感到自豪。
If the doctors are emotionally invested in the athletes, the feeling is mutual.
是他们，然后让我重新回到球场上了，肯定会， 最起码没有什么报答，就有成绩上的报答，能报答。
Walking through the halls of the hospital, you can see the photos of other athletes indebted to their doctors. And in those photos, you also see the medical professionals who feel they have a personal stake in the Olympic Games.
When you see some my boys get the treatment in this institute and go back and win the champion gold medal, we are so excited. Yeah, because you see, this is our, achievement actually. Yeah, you can see how good they are. We are very proud of that. But if you regret to say something like you cannot continue, then we feel very sad. We just like all the emotion, just like the athletes and their coach. We are together. It means everything, the feeling and all the. We have the same goal. We want to win, but sometimes it's impossible. But sometimes you did.
When the 2008 Olympics hit Beijing, one thing is certain. Everyone at this hospital will be cheering for their former patients. The 2008 Olympics aren't all fun and games. There's a lot of work behind the scenes, especially here at the Beijing Center for Disease Prevention and Control, or Beijing CDC. Behind these doors, some of China's best and brightest scientific minds are constantly figuring out how to keep the event safe for everyone. China developed the largest and one of the most high-tech epidemic monitoring systems in the world. It takes 207,000 CDC staff to operate the nationwide electronic network of emergency centers. This is the mass spectrometry lab, where food, air, and water are brought in from all over Beijing and tested on a daily basis. Tens of thousands of dollars of equipment are here to keep its visitors, the city itself, and of course the Olympic athletes safe from food poisoning, water contamination, and contagious diseases. The Beijing CDC was established in 2000 to promote healthy living, a new concept in China, and keep the public safe from disease and injury. Now, with the Olympics on the way, the pressure's on. The Beijing CDC began a risk assessment program in 2005, working with similar international agencies that have Olympic experience. Iowa State University and the Beijing CDC combined efforts to analyze all potential health risks in 4 main categories: gastrointestinal, respiratory, disease carried by animals or insects, and sexually transmitted diseases. Next, the Beijing CDC collected and studied bacteria samples, identifying the most likely threats during the hot and humid Olympic month. In addition, prevention efforts in Beijing include 12 labs for chickenpox, 16 for bird flu, 101 for HIV/AIDS, and 6 for SARS. China was criticized for mishandling and covering up the 2003 SARS epidemic. The outbreak peaked in the spring with 2,500 reported cases in Beijing. Now, every hospital in the city is required to file an online report for contagious diseases. The results are then sent to the Beijing CDC. The Beijing CDC also monitors pharmacies and hospitals for disease timing and frequency. Collecting and studying data are key prevention methods, but they're not the only ones underway. The city is making immunizations mandatory and free for everyone. Finally, addressing basic sanitation issues becomes even more crucial as Beijing's population grows.
措施的问题我们已经做了同样做了充分的安排它不单单1年设施上做了安排，包括提高这个公民的卫生素质等方面。
There's even an anti-spitting campaign. A foreign student offered this observation on the differences between what's accepted in the U.S. and China.
Spitting in public it's not really a big deal here.
But with the Olympics on the way, it's becoming a bigger deal. If signs alone don't stop this long-standing habit and health hazard, the $7 fine might do the trick. That could mean several meals in China. So clearing your throat could mean clearing your wallet. But while preventing health problems altogether during the Olympics is the best-case scenario, the Beijing CDC must prepare for the worst. The Beijing CDC has 11 emergency medical teams working with 18 teams from surrounding counties. By August of 2008, Beijing will have over 6,000 beds available for emergency patients who contract infectious diseases. Hosting a healthy Olympics is a tough job, but these folks are devoted to making sure everyone, from halfway down the block to halfway around the world, gets through in great shape. Being sick is never fun, but being sick far away from home in a foreign country is what every traveler dreads. If that happens to you in Beijing during the Olympics, don't call 911, call 120. This is the nerve center that receives all medical emergency calls in Beijing. What makes it different from the 911 dispatch service that we have in the US is that a doctor answers your call and diagnoses your problem. Then that MD dispatches the correct specialist for your injuries or urgent care needs. Founded in 1983, the Beijing Emergency Medical Center began as a 100-bed trauma center, specializing in treating time-critical problems like stroke and heart disease. Back in May of 2005, the center stopped treating patients in-house. Instead, they channeled their resources into badly needed ambulance services for the rapidly growing city. These ambulances are equipped with state-of-the-art medical tools and a specialist versed in both Western and Eastern medicine. When you see a 120 ambulance racing through the streets of Beijing, you can be sure that it's less than 10 minutes away from the hospital best equipped to save its patient's life. To accommodate foreign visitors seeking treatment, multilingual operators are needed to translate for the diagnosing doctors. That's why the Beijing Emergency Medical Center is recruiting foreign language volunteers to help answer phones. During the Games, to handle the 1.5 million visitors, the center will provide 140 ambulances to Olympic venues every day. They'll be equipped with touchscreen displays that will translate symptoms from one of 9 languages into Chinese for the doctors in the ambulances.
外语方面的因为这次呢，这个世界大家庭盛会我们从那个医疗卫生队伍中它不但要讲英文、法语日语、俄语，除了这些语言以外，还有很多的阿拉伯语其他国家语言我们应当做全面的准备同时呢，将有很多的在医学院校，包括外语学院的这些学生社会志愿者来提供语言方面的保障，通过语言方面的保障呢，来体现我们的服务理念。
And their hard work will pay off if Beijing's experience is anything like Athens in 2004. Athens saw 10,888 foreign patients during the Games. As for the city's 15 million residents, the Beijing Emergency Medical Center is in the process of building 136 stations throughout the city to make sure they're taken care of during the Olympics too. In America, we only call 911 when we're in serious medical trouble. But during the Games, foreigners are encouraged to call 120 even if they only have a stomach bug. So, in Beijing, call 120 to cure what ails you. Olympic athletes in training. Their feet can take a pounding, but so can the feet of ordinary Beijingers. They both find relief in a traditional form of Chinese sports medicine. Believe it or not, you can walk in off a busy Beijing street and be in a place like this, a soothing, relaxing massage spa. The cost of a professional full-body massage and manicure, just 138 Chinese yuan, about $15. This spa also offers something that will cure your aching feet after walking around the city, a Chinese foot massage. In China, the ancient art of foot massage is about much more than relaxation. Many believe it can diagnose health problems and even cure them. Some members of the Chinese Olympic team even get foot massages as part of their sports medicine therapy. Now, you're going to see the toughest part of my job. I have to get a Chinese foot massage to show you what it's all about. I feel jet-lagged after an 11-hour flight. I also have a little headache. Of course, this would make anyone feel better. The foot massage begins with a soak in a tub of warm water for 20 minutes. But it isn't just any water. This water contains 20 different herbs and medicines. These are Chinese herbs and medicines. The purpose is to open the pores in the foot and also improve circulation in the foot and legs. And all this is designed to help the body better receive the benefits of the foot massage. The practice of foot massage dates back to ancient times. People here really believe in it. The massage therapist, Huan, shows that foot massage is about much more than the feet. I feel hot in my cheeks right now when you did that treatment.
通过足部按摩，就是双足都给它刺激到了，刺激到位，那么就会促进全身的整体的一个循环，让人能够得到放松、舒适，并且能够加强，就是说像休息不好的，可以促进睡眠。
How does it work? Chinese medical theory states there are 62 reflection points on the soles of the feet. Each of these points corresponds to a different part of the body.
这是肩部反射区，这是咱们现在的人最常见的一个疲劳的地方。这是肘部反射区，然后这里是膝关节。
So what are my feet saying about my body? Is my heart okay?
不错，很健康。他的眼睛可能会有一些经常的疲劳，感觉到不适，因为它的里面有一些气泡。
After the diagnosis, a little advice.
小姐整体还可以，但是呢，就是说应该要注意休息，还有就是说多吃一些容易消化的饮食啊，就是像。
Now it's time for the massage.
这里是失眠点，就是调节人的睡眠。
You'd think a foot massage would be about pleasure, but sometimes it's painful.
力度呢，每个反射区力度它都是一样的。如果说它这个位置真的是有问题，那么我会加强，就是说一点点的力度，然后增加次数，然后增强它的刺激量。如果力度越大呢，会给客人造成一些紧张，他会身体反射出不同的，就是说一个反抗的一种力来反弹我的力，然后从而就达不到的那种效果。
Huan believes the pain in this area of the foot corresponds to neck pain.
这个位置是人的颈椎，他的颈椎可能平时不太舒服吧。通过手部刺激按摩，就是说，可以促进他的这个局部的一些微循环。不过这个得要坚持做，一次两次呢，只能是说当时缓解。
Maybe that neck problem is related to my headache. It's a surprise to me that my head can feel better from something that you're doing to my feet. In China, those who practice foot massage are considered healthcare workers and part of the overall medical system.
扭伤，然后造成的一些出血性的这种呢，先要到医院里面去处理一下，之后客人会嘱咐还得要靠按摩来帮助他恢复，这样效果是比较快的，或者是足疗。
So many Chinese people believe in foot massage that it's big business. There are hundreds of thousands of spas throughout China. Many, like Oriental Taipan Spa, offer special group rooms. In Beijing, it's popular for business executives, families, and friends to relax here together. In 2008, these rooms could be filled with Olympic visitors. That'll mean a lot of demand for people like Huan, but it isn't something you can learn overnight.
我是在北京足疗研究学会，我要学中医基础理论，然后还有人体解剖学，还有实际的就是操作。
Huan sees a lot of feet before she goes home after a hard day's work. Sometimes a chef doesn't want to go home and cook for their family. So when you go home, does your mother and your boyfriend or your husband ask you for a foot massage?
我会的，因为家里人啊，他身体不太好，因为他们经常劳动，需要做很重的活，所以呢，我需要给他们缓解一下。
Huan probably has one very relaxed family. After my foot massage, I feel calm, peaceful. My temples are warm. Huan got rid of a headache, and she did it by only touching my feet. It's easy to see why a Chinese athlete would want this as part of a sports medicine holistic program. That's it for this episode. Here's a look at what's coming up on the next Beijing Are You Ready? On the next episode, Olympic spirit is taking over this grade school. This elaborate celebration ends with a surprise visit from a gold medal winner. Then preparations continue as folks from age 6 to 86 learn how to welcome their Olympic guests in English. Welcome to Beijing. Or turn down one of Beijing's oldest alleyways and spend the night in a 19th century Chinese general's quarters. That and more coming your way on the next Beijing Are You Ready? From the site of the 2008 Olympic Games, I'm Mary Windishar. We'll see you next time.
哪里都是尽情自由的回答，荣誉梦想。在这里全部实现。One more nation come together.